on the road and I've been doing some thinking. My whole life I've felt like I've always had this really strong internal compass, like ethically, and just pulling me towards like what I need to be doing. At least that's what it feels like. And having played with different systems of philosophy and thought, and realizing that like you really can't do whatever you want. Where I've settled back to is that my natural state is to be pulled towards something. And this is supported by the fact that in my life there's been plenty of times, especially when I was a lot younger, where I would just kind of do what I wanted to in the moment, or do what I thought was cool or what would benefit me, knowing that that wasn't in line with my own ethical standpoint and with that internal compass. And I know this is a little dramatic, but some of that stuff kind of haunts me. And it's not like I've ever done anything really bad. I don't think so anyway. It's just more about acting out of accordance with my own ethics. And so the point of this video is just kind of talking about like making sure your ethics are in line with something. Well, I guess your ethics are your ethics, but I guess I'm more talking about morals and making sure that your life is in alignment with your ethics. So like making sure you're like, I don't know, if you're religious, like going to a church that is morally in alignment with you, that kind of thing. And I think doing so really fights and almost kind of solves or maybe subdues two of the hardest parts of being a person, which I'm just going to call depression and anguish. I touched on anguish a little bit earlier, just talking about like being haunted by doing things that are unethical, but just doing them anyway. And I think that's pretty much it. It's easier, it's not easy, but it is easier to justify and rationalize things that other people have done to us, but it's much harder to live with things that you have done. And so I think structuring your life so you're only doing things that you're in agreement with make it a lot easier to just avoid that anguish altogether. It's kind of like if you get really violent when you drink, you probably should not go to bars or be around alcohol, and you should probably not have friends who drink. And while that might seem lame and it always sucks to break off friendships, it's better for you in the long run because you won't live a life of anguish. Then on the second point of depression, I think in doing things that we're morally and ethically aligned with, we can just kind of avoid that wholesale. Because having looked at my life and realizing that I'm doing a lot of things, but I don't agree with most of it, and then transitioning to a point where it was hard, but I was still toiling because I was working for things that I agreed with and I wanted to be doing, the latter was so much better than the former. And whenever I do start to feel bad about things, whether it's mental anguish due to stuff in my past or whatever, I can always focus back on my purpose and what I'm doing now. I'm not Christian, I'm not religious in that way, but just like doing good things with my life. Things are just a lot easier when you believe in what you do, even if it's just being a farmer or something.